Absolutely. So, since we have already talked about some of the characteristics which make dynasties in IPL, SS, what do you say? Let's talk deeper into what made CSK a dominant force in IPL. What made CSK force the dynasty in IPL? What's your take on that?
Yeah, I feel it starts from the very top. The ownership hasn't changed. India Cements and Srinivasan hasn't changed. He became BCCI president. There were some issues around betting and all, and the bad apples were thrown out. Even the franchise was thrown out, despite all that tumultuous thing. They have always been there. That gives a lot of stability. There are some franchises who have gone through ownership changes, and that gives a lot of changes in courses of how strategy is going to be. Then coming closer to the pitch, you have the team management that has been stable. Fleming has always been there. That's why I draw a bit of parallel between Popovich Spurs or Alex Ferguson's Man United. There you have some kind of stability in terms of the coach and the captain who have pretty much remained the same. Even if Dhoni isn't actively captaining, he is the leader. Everyone knows that. It's an open secret. And then you also bring in management and coaching talent from the players who have already represented. You have got Mike Hussey, you have now got El Balaji, and it will just Dwayne Bravo is also there now. So you keep picking those things, and then we also talk about even extending it. I mean, even the fitness coach Simons, I think he has been there for a long time as well. And now that stability is when you have the multi-club model that's going around the world, they are playing with a similar kind of an setup, looking at talents that are doing well in the other franchises in other countries, and they're trying to bring in. And with Dhoni, you know the template of his captaincy and his gameplay. Choke with the spinners, know your surroundings as best as you can, and pick players that are in the same mold. You need like multi-dimensional players. You bat deep till number eight. You have a Ravindra Jadeja kind of a player. You have a Dwayne Bravo. And then they are the ultimate value pickers. They're the ultimate odd beating team out there. They will pick players you think that are done. Shane Watson, after the RCB spell, you thought he was done. You thought Ambati Raidu had done whatever he could. They pick them and they make heroes out of them again. Uh,
I
so
I'm honestly amazed by what Dhoni was able to get out of Tushar Deshpande a few seasons
Amazing.
back.
That's an amazing example as well. Tushar Deshpande, I mean, it's another one of this example that even after 17 seasons, he hasn't lost that touch. CSK hasn't lost that touch. Even so, they know very close to what player functions they need to cover up. So even if the personnel changes because of some auction dynamics, they're very clear-headed in even in auction of what kind of talent they want. And they're not the biggest stars, as we will talk about more. MI, there's only one star. That's Dhoni. And then you have sprinkling. Even when they buy Ben Stokes, he doesn't act like a diva. He sits on the bench if he has to sit on the bench. So they look for that, you know, it's like the team fit interviews that happen in corporate world. They really focus on that they need to find ingredients that will work pretty well in Chepauk, that will function very well in the franchise. That's why when they have an off season like they were having this time, teams are winning in Chepauk for the first time in 15 seasons. Now you think about T20 as a format which is so, you know, there will be so many variables at play, so much variance, but they are so consistent, and because of the systems and processes that they have done.
Absolutely. I think I agree with so many points that you make there. I think they understand their ground so well. They made an absolute fortress out of Chepok. They have the right tools to win in those kind of situations. But then we have also seen that when they're outside of Chepok, they are still an equally dominant force. So it's a template of play that not only suits their home conditions, of course, they in the team that they have, the systems that they have, enable them to make it a complete fortress. But then they are also able to perform in other grounds and
Yeah.
compete there. So
There was a season when I think they were not playing in Chennai and they won it. I think that was Watson season 2018. They were playing in Pune. Pune was the home ground and they went on to win it. So even though they have tailor-made their team and Chepauk a fortress, they win away. That's why they always finish in top four. I mean, barring few seasons, they are always in there. They've reached four finals and five victories. That means it's not as if they only win in Chepauk and then they are a rollover in other conditions. They have won tournaments when they don't even play at the Chepauk. That means they have the systems and processes. A great example of an interview that I was reading was Robbie Uthappa. Robbie Uthappa, I mean, done pretty well at KKR, won two trophies, played for India, went through a spike and a trough again. But then when CSK said he's now a value pick for us, he can do what the Shane Watson Ambati Raidu partnership was doing, trying to replicate, bring him in at number two, number three. And the trust that he got, he was telling about how Mike Hussey was so supportive. Dhoni, he hadn't spoken to him much, but how supportive he was, how clear-headed he was about his role. So these are just examples of the players that they pick in. And then they've got certain flavors that he wants a left-arm spinner to come in. You had Jadeja, you had Jakati back in the day. You had Moeen Ali doing a lot. So he has got his players, and then he trusts a lot on the one primary skill they're really good at. I heard an interview at one of the conclaves about Dhoni talking about Deepak Chahar. I don't want to see all the arms and ammunition that you carry. I know what you are good at. Don't try to over experiment. We have got coverage of those experiments coming from somebody else. You do what your job is. If you are going to bowl up front, bowl up front. I don't need you to bowl at the death. So clear-headed that the players feel so confident in their primary skill that if everyone does that, CSK is going to succeed. So it's just that
I
trust and the everything that Dhoni builds around.
absolutely love this point that you make around role clarity. I also think about Moeen Ali when he was coming up top for CSK. Not many teams had experimented with that, but then there was absolute clarity on his role in that CSK lineup, coming in at number three, hitting the ball around, and giving the team what they really needed from Moeen Ali.
They give long ropes to players as well. I mean, I'm sure Rachin Ravindra and now you've got Ruturaj Gaikwad, who is like the main guy in terms of Indian talent. They're going to get a long rope. Ajinkya Rahane did pretty well for them as opener as well. So when they trust you for long, and they are going to back you to the hilt. Even if a mega auction comes in, they are going to back you. I mean, Faf du Plessis, Murli Vijay, there's so many examples of players who, after leaving the franchise as well, are the most gracious to that pretty franchise that they played the longest for. Even if they played only one season, they would still back CSK as their favorite team. So, speaks
Exactly.
volumes about CSK, and even if they would have bad seasons, I think they have the ingredients.
Yeah, that is pretty evident in the commentary box these days with Ambati Raidu and
Matt
these guys.
Hayden is always there. Matt Hayden is always there. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, they are as I said, the ultimate odds beater. And when you think they're not going to do well, when they are being called a dad's army, they are going to surprise you. So, they've been very consistent, and they will always. I mean, look at this: 16 seasons, 10, 9 or 10 seasons, they've reached the final.
Absolutely. No denying that. But as with every dynasty that we discuss about, there is also that aspect about, the fall of that dynasty. And we'll also discuss about CSK and their fall from, the big stage, from winning titles
Yeah,
to being in a place where they can't compete this season. What do
yeah.
you think were the factors for that?
I think franchises and teams are also maturing. Auction strategies are going more, they are being more aggressive about it. They are very clear about it, what they want. I think sometimes when you trust the formula for so long, uh, people will catch you ultimately, and that's happening the last season. I'm not going to completely write off them that they are not going to be there the next 3 or 5 seasons. A mega auction can change it, but I think it's an aging team as well. There are the superstars of, I mean, Dhoni, Jadeja, they are at their probably at the fag end of, and Dhoni has been in the fag end for the last 5 seasons. But that's another thing. He's Thala for a reason. Uh,
You should have
I
said last 7 seasons.
he's in Thala for a reason. Uh, I think they need a rejig as well. I think the Chepauk pitch has also not played to their liking. A lot of talk about that. That's the first time that I'm hearing after watching IPL for 17 seasons. Uh, but I think they still have the systems and processes. Dhoni goes into management, and I think he picks players. Uh, Probably I will still give them a couple of seasons to see if it's truly a rot or if it's just a one-off, two-off season, and maybe then they will need a rejig. I will be cautious to write them off completely at this